Nolan said we look really good today. Very good natural light, so he's doing his job of making sure the boys are looking pretty on set. But more so, it's just that it's springtime and that's the sun. So no one has no excuses.
We love it.
We love it.
We love the sun.
Yeah, we're starting to get actual vitamin D in us, a little tint to our pale color, and we'll start looking better here as the coffee buzzes continue to roll. So Nolan, lay it on us.
What has been the hardest part of starting your own business?
Ready, go, Steve. Take it for 5.
Absolutely, for me, it's been managing staff. So I think when you start a business, so anyone who's going to start their own business, they start with a vision in their head and they conceptualize it and they think about how it's going to be. And anyone who's going to be successful in that is going to be driven and go. And as you go along that journey, you realize you can't do those things by yourself. Mm-hmm. Like, it's not physically possible. Right. So I get the question all the time. It's like, did you think MASH and MASH Performance and MindStrong were going to be where they're at right now? Right. And my answer is always yes.
Yeah.
It's always yes. And it always has been. It was when it wasn't even that popular. But the second answer is, but I didn't understand how many people it was going to take to get it to that point.
And how many people it will take to get it to the next point.
To the next point.
Right.
I think when we first started and it's just a couple people trying to figure something out, and then you look up and 10 people are basing their entire life off of something that you made up in a room.
Right.
It can be almost daunting and scary. And then you add another 50 seasonal employees between coaching and just everything that we do. It's terrifying because not only do you care about your brand and your vision and what you want to bring to the world, but also you feel indebted to the people who are a part of what you do. And I know that that's weird to say and look at you guys because you're all a part of it, but you just have this sense of family that no one will ever be able to understand. It's kind of like the way that when you pick on your brother or your sister, it's fun, but then the second somebody else does it, you just want to rip their face off. That's the feeling you get in small business, in my opinion.
Yeah, that's a great analogy. I think, this doesn't serve a 5-minute conversation justice, but I think first thing that comes to my mind, I obviously agree with you on all of that. I mean, I've essentially been with you during all of that, so it's like hard for me to try to turn the answer to something differently. But from my perspective, obviously what you just said was a very deep thought of same thing that came to my head right away. But then post that, I think it's crazy how you don't know anything. Like, you can read about stuff and you can have mentors, you can have people like tell you what to do. But when you start a business, like, you have no clue what to do.
None.
And so when you know that happens, I think it helps now as you get deeper into it, because you don't even realize you're getting smarter, right? You're just in the hurricane of chaos. But when you first start, like, everything is so new to you that you make terrible decisions, you make mistakes, you fail, and it's massively embarrassing. And then then defending your business, there's just a lot of like massive embarrassment that happens in the beginning that I think you have to just stick through. Like, as simple as like understanding like a 1099. Or like, you know what I'm saying? Like, you just like as simple as starting a website, or understanding
that 33% of the money you make is going to be ripped from you before you've made 1 cent.
Yeah. So like when you make your first deal for like a lot of money, you go, well, that's not even close to how much money it is, or how much I'm going to make, or where this has to go.
It's crazy.
Yeah. So then like that stuff is crazy. And then this is sort of a point that I want to just bring up to Steve that we talked about last night, Nolan, that you also, when you first start a business, anything that your craft is, your product or your service, I don't know how much value you weigh on it. But then I was talking to a buddy of mine the other day, and Steve, you'll think about this, but we've essentially been coaching and in leadership for almost a decade now, where you're seeing profit off of that, right? So you've been in front of, at this point, we've spoken in front of 1,000 people in a room. We've spoken in front of numerous hundreds of times of people in rooms, and you have people every single day. So you're just learning already, and then you're learning a specific craft in leadership or mindset or breath work or hitting or pitching. And you forget, like, as your time gets higher in demand, you get more money, right? but it's crazy to comprehend. Like you'll sit there and go, like somebody, you could have a high price tag on something and somebody will go, that's a lot of money. And you could be, if you don't know where you've been in the journey, you could be like, oh, you're right, that's too much money that I'm selling. Because an entrepreneur, you have to create your own prices.
Yep.
But really, you're paying for the last 10 years of thousands of hours that I've put in, and you're getting that package for an hour and a half. Mm-hmm. And you're getting 10 years. Do you want to live 10 years and get that knowledge that you're going to get?
Yeah.
Or do you want to just pay that price and get that 10 year of knowledge?
Yeah, it's a great point. And for anyone on this question, real quick, this is just important to me for people who listen to this, is there's two things that you really need to understand after you get through that initial hard part of starting your own business. Is that, one, you have to understand if you're going to be successful, it's not your business. It's not. It's everyone's. So if you started it and somebody comes in on it, if they truly believe in it and they're willing to sacrifice and do all these things and have it be their life as well, it's their business too.
Yeah.
It's not yours. And if you treat it like
give away your baby,
you have to give it away.
Yeah.
And you can't treat it like it's yours. And that's why the people that you hire are so important. And it's so important for you to understand that you have to not only hire the right people, but throughout the process, you have to communicate. The biggest failure I had was feeling overwhelmed with running the actual business and believing that everyone within the business knew what we were doing. So like when we moved into a new facility, it was the first time that the people who were a part of the mission and felt like owners in the mission didn't see growth either in their field or financially. And we didn't take time to explain that because I just assumed everyone knew, hey, we got new nets, we got new turf.
$40,000.
Yeah, it's like it's different.
Yeah.
But they don't understand that they believe in it as much as you do, but they don't understand it as much as you do. So whatever you guys do, the people who are with you on your mission, you have to make sure that they know everything that's going on just as well as you do. That's really important.
Well said. Like I said, I think we could do an entire podcast. We should do an entire podcast on that. Business 101 prep from the
fun.
M's.
That'd be really fun.
What fact amazes you every time you
It's not working, kid.
What?
There he is.
Yeah. You left us, Otter. Put your mic up there, would you?
What fact amazes you every time you think of it, and why?
What fact amazes you every time you think of it, and why? I'm going to start the clock already, and so we can get through some of this dead air.
I have something.
Well, I just need to know a fact. I guess I would have to know.
My fact that amazes me is that we're going to die.
Oh.
I think that's crazy. Like we're all just living and we're not we're like, it's the biggest, like, forget about it, act like it's not real thing of all time.
Right.
And you don't, like, I turned 30 this year, and this is the first time that, like, if I get a side pain, I'm like, that might not be something good. You know, the reality of, like, the reality of death starts to creep in, and it's just like we're going through this world, and just like the last question, like, you get so entrenched into what you're doing and the life that you're living that you forget you're just going to get one of these. Hopefully. Right. Hopefully there is a heaven, and that's where I get to go to after this. But
yeah, it's called faith.
While you're here, it makes you really think, am I doing the right things? Because the fact is, we're all going to die, and I think sometimes we think we won't.
So the question is deemed as, I like that point. What is the exact verbiage again?
What's one fact that amazes you every time you think of it? Maybe like a stat, like a statistic, or something about the brain you really like.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I guess a stat. So a stat doesn't necessarily have to be a fact, though, because it could get changed, right? Like statistically, you would know that our brain is 75% built off survival, so your amygdala would be like wired to fear everything. But then you watch a Netflix show that you happen to love, Nolan, where a guy doesn't have a fear receptor.
So what's something you think? What's something you think about that amazes you every time you think about it?
I do like Steve's analogy of death. I think about that all the time, though, in the sense of that is amazing to comprehend. And then when you really put that into your brain waves, that like you're just in a game, like you're essentially just playing a game, then it like takes away all these, like nothing really matters, and you find like a bunch of like peace out of that.
I got another funny one I think of all the time is that right now, there is a whale swimming around somewhere.
That's a fact.
That's a fact. That is a
That is a
huge
fact,
thing. And you see it on you go home, you turn on your Netflix, you watch Discovery. You don't understand. These people and these things that you're watching are real. And they're happening now. It's crazy to think that if you really wanted to, you could fly in and go see indigenous people and be like, well, let's risk it all. Let's go see what these people are actually like.
Yeah, and they don't know. Yeah, they have no, like, they would see you and go, what?
Yeah, dude, they would be like, what's going on?
You think that everyone who's listening is probably even thinks the same thing. Like, you think that the street that you can see right now, like, that's the world.
Mm-hmm.
You know, but like there is a place on Earth that we probably don't even know about. You know, like in the ocean, in the depths of the ocean, there's a creature that we probably never even seen.
Never seen.
And
I
then
think
you look at space.
There is a stat I'd love to have someone look up. Maybe Nolan one day. Like we've only discovered. I'm making this number up, people. So don't hammer me on this. 15% of the ocean.
That's
something
like,
crazy.
That's
like
20%.
That's not even close to being right.
20?
I don't know the answer.
You don't know.
None of us are right.
There's a lot left.
Yeah, there's a lot in there. There's a lot of water.
We know more about space, I think, than the ocean. I'm going hard in on that too.
That one might be right. You might be right on that one.
Do you want to guess too, Mart?
What do I want to guess? How
do
much
you want to
percentage?
guess?
Yes.
Steve said 15. You said 20. I just know that
it's got a pretty good gauge there.
I just know that it's 26.7%.
Okay, so there's multiple, but NASA says it's only 5.
I was going to say 3.
Dang, looks like 3. I win.
I wanted to say 3.
Looks like I win.
Well, is NASA right?
That was 2016, so in the 2 years, maybe 1% or 2, but NASA says 5%.
Is there any other findings, or is it just NASA that we're going off of? We're going to have to call Burkhart here.
It's called Burkhart.
As he looks this up, I also read the other day that you will most likely meet right around 100,000 people in your life.
Really?
Yeah.
How many people do you think you've met right now?
So that was, if you lived to the age of 90, you would meet 100,000 people. And that's obviously, if you're in a rural area, it's less. If you're in New York, it's more.
Yeah.
But I want that to be a Coffee Buzz question for next time is, what counts as meeting someone?
Yeah, like, because you definitely are going to see more than 100,000 people, you know? So that's a fact. That's a fact. Fact, Jack. Next question.
What's something that your brain tries to make you do and you have to will yourself not to do it?
Get out of bed.
Oh, wow.
I think that your brain tells you it's comfort zone. So it's all comfort stuff.
Yeah.
You know, brain tells you order the food. Don't go out, get it, cut it up.
So for all those who listen at MASH, where we work in the back room, we have a little snack area.
Oh boy.
And Kelly Linruth, bless her heart, she has a tendency to buy this big bag of assorted Hershey's chocolates. They're thick, they're good, they come in crispy, they come in almond, they come in dark chocolate.
The one with the almond has a red line through the middle of it.
See, we all know what's going on.
I go right for him.
Oh, God.
If I see Andy in it, I take a bat to the back of his knees.
When you see those, how difficult is that for you to not jump into that candy bag? It's a daily battle for me.
And people who are from the north understand it gets dark up here. It gets cold. You're hungry. Sugar cravings.
You've been working with kids for 5 hours.
They've been screaming. You've been just saying, please, quiet the baby, quiet the baby, quiet the baby. You know, the old man's yelling at you. He read something online, you know, and you're sitting there, you're in tons of trouble. It's crazy. Kelly's mad at you. Steve's got his arms crossed pointing at you. The only thing you do is you look and go 4 cages away. I can get that Hershey with the red lines on it.
How do I maneuver my way to not talk to anyone?
How do I get to those
eat a Hershey's chocolate?
That is a true thing that has happened. That's a fact.
That's a daily goal of mine.
That is a
Can you
fact.
repeat it one more time? I think we can rattle off 4 or 5 more in our time frame.
What's something your brain tries to make you do and you have to will yourself not to do it?
Not to do it. I would say go on social media is a big one.
Oh, yeah. It's just accessible stuff,
yeah, shoot
right?
that down. Put that down. Going out to eat, that's a really good one. You ever had those Arby's Euros?
No. You're an
pretty
Arby's
good.
fan. I was an Arby's fan in high school. I haven't been into Arby's in a long time.
Me neither.
that's true. I'm Chick-fil-A, dude. I've convinced myself that Chick-fil-A is an organic fast food place. I mean, Chick-fil-A makes sense. Everything's natural. It has to be, right?
What about this one you'll like, Mark? What about feeling guilty for things you shouldn't feel guilty about? Like taking time off or sitting around the house. Like some days I have to battle. Yesterday I sucked. I sucked all day yesterday. There wasn't a point of yesterday that I was good.
Good.
And
you're becoming aware.
I was sitting down and I didn't really have anything to do, but I just felt horrible the entire time, and I had to put a time limit on it. I gave myself 30 minutes to just sit down.
Yeah, I hate that too. It's like you have momentum, and then when you don't have momentum, you convince yourself that you're never going to get it back again. Mm-hmm. You're just like sitting there going, I suck. You could have like 8 great days in a row, and then one day just like, I suck. I didn't work out. I didn't drink any. I'm fat. Like my body looks bad. Yeah. Like I'm ugly. Like and then it's like that like lasts for a little bit, and then you get back into it the next day, and then literally 24 hours later, you could be like, dude, I am jacked.
I am crushing it. Or you go to the downstairs mirror.
I've got this figured out, dude.
You ever been in the upstairs mirror and gone to the downstairs mirror and gone, you're okay?
Long winter. It was a long winter.
You're okay. You look good. If anything, you look great.
Yeah, your brain definitely tries to do that to you. And then you get then I think what's funny is that's like a comparison, right? Like you see, that's where social media crushes you, where like you'll see other people in one day. You'll be working for something. Talk about 8 to 10 years of coaching. You'll coach for 10 years and one person will coach like one day, and you'll see something about it. You'll go, oh, they're gaining on me.
Oh, yeah, dude.
Or like,
I gotta go.
Or like, what am I doing? You'll look at somebody who's been in the field for like 40 years and they come out with some awesome researcher thing, and you're like, where am I at? I need to bury my head in the books. In reality, like, who cares? Mm-hmm. Like, just be good at what you're doing.
Just keep your pace, keep your blinders
keep your pace,
on.
Man. You said it to me years ago. You said you just got to understand it takes time.
It does.
It's in that movie with Denzel Washington. You know what I'm talking about? Where he's the
Man on Fire.
No, he's in the
Remember the Titans.
No, he's like a drug
Training
lord.
Day.
He's like a drug lord.
American Gangster.
American Gangster. And he says in that movie, he says like a young guy, he goes, it just takes time. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm talking about?
Oh, yeah.
You should. You're the one that told me.
I do. It took me a sec. I love Denzel.
Well, what's the line then? We'll put you on the spot. You have 19 seconds to try to come up with either an unbelievable lie or you actually told me the real comment.
I think he's got it.
Well, here's the thing, is that I want everyone to go out and experience that movie for themselves. So why don't you jump on your Netflix,
I don't want to give
American Gang. I don't want to give it away to you right now. Okay, so go on, watch that movie, learn something about patience, persistent patience. I've been talking about that for years too. Persistently patient.
You got to earn it, folks. Go ahead, Noel.
What's the best purchase you've ever made and why?
Best purchase ever made and why? Steve's worst purchase would be his pool, that's for sure.
Worst ever. And my old man told me not to do it, and he probably listens to this, and he's probably smirking away right now. Don't ever buy a house with a pool, folks. It is a death trap of financial just brokenness from which chlorine tablets, chemical shock, pool cover's not working, diving board breaks, the lights don't work, all of a sudden there's algae coming out of it. It's a disaster. And you know the value it adds to your home? $0, folks.
Yeah, man.
If anything, it makes it more difficult. But for my best purchase, currently the thing that brought me the most joy was I was walking through a store with my mom as a kid, and I got to buy the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle van, full Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, full thing, full setup. I got about 2 full years of playtime out of that.
Wow.
That's one of my best purchases of all time. Now, I didn't actually buy it, but it was the choice I made to use with my allowance.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's I think you got to go worst to figure out what the best is, right? I like how you kind of took us on the loop there of your worst purchases to your best purchase, because in the more bad purchases you make, you understand what a good purchase is. Mm-hmm. Whereas like I look at my bad purchases as a bed. I was told by numerous people, buy a great bed, invest in a bed. Decided, nah, I'm good, man. I've been sleeping on couches forever. I'll be fine. I become an adult. I get money. I can finally buy a nice bed. I buy a terrible bed. And
you
here I am.
Did?
Yeah, here I am. I was with you, I believe. It was like 3 or 4 years
I
ago.
remember that because we took it to your place in
Richfield.
Richfield.
I'll just buy this crappy bed, and now I'm sitting here 4 years later, mad, super mad, and you're there all the time. So if you're getting into that position that I'm talking about, invest in the bed. and then you'll sleep better, you'll think better, you'll live better. Everything else gets better. Instead, you could just be super mad for 4 years in a row.
To save like $400.
Yeah, so mad. I'm so mad.
You get a nice bed for not much more money than a bad bed.
And I spent a couple $100 on a bad bed. So you still spend money on that. And then my second bad purchase, it's not a bad purchase, but I bought that truck of mine way too soon to impress a gal. You know, I wanted to seem cool. And I bought a really cool truck, and then I had no money. So then I couldn't even pay for gas years ago.
But don't you think that maybe pocketbook-wise that wasn't a good investment, but like, don't you think that that's kind of been a truck that people identify with you?
Well, now
it
it's
was like
sweet.
your first.
Now it's
because I remember when you bought that.
Yeah,
that was your first. Like,
that was my
you
big
know
dog.
what? I'm making money. I've made some money.
I'm buying this truck.
I'm doing it,
Yeah,
and I'm
Brian
going to
Peters
drive
told
it.
me not to for a long time.
He did.
Yeah.
But, you know, what did he went to Northwestern, so now all of a sudden he can tell you to not buy a truck.
The guy goes into downtown Chicago, makes it through the educational rigors. I can't buy a rig.
So what's your best purchase?
That's why I was trying to think through all that, because then I haven't purchased really anything since those two mistakes in the last 4 or 5 years out of just pure fear that I don't know how to purchase things. But this thing over to the left of me, hopefully you got it in the shot, Noel, is an Apple computer.
Wow.
I will say the amount of people, I had like a thing where I didn't want to buy a computer for a long time because I was getting away without one.
Yep.
And it was kind of like my bit.
Yeah, it was your bit.
It was my bit, and I had my phone, so I could always do stuff on my phone. And then as like we started getting around more people and knocking down that 100,000 person note of knowing more people, everyone just kept saying, "Just buy a computer, dude. Just buy a computer." And I bought that thing. I honestly, in a month, I don't think I could go. I don't know how I'd live without the computer.
No, and people say, well, you have a computer on your phone. It's like, come on, you ever try to type an email out on your phone?
Right.
Or respond to people?
Right.
Like, it's just it's a whole new ball game.
Dude, it's crazy. It's crazy what it's done for me. So my best purchase has been a good computer, a good quality Apple computer, brought to you by Apple. And that's
throw us some earbuds or something.
Earbuds, we'll take covers, we'll take whatever it is. The boys are all in on Apple.
Don't buy a pool. Don't buy a truck too early.
Too soon.
Too early.
And buy a nice bed.
Buy a nice bed, buy a laptop, and buy Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, and you guys will be fine.
There it is. I think we don't need to go 5. There's 40 seconds left. We just changed a lot of lives.
I think if anything, for me personally, this was my favorite coffee buzz that we've done.
Go ahead. Why is that?
I don't know. I think that the questions were great. I think that the answers were great. And I think that the listeners are going to feel great when they're done with this podcast.
Yeah. Well, maybe we'll know, maybe we won't. So best of luck. Best of luck to everybody out there that's listening. Enjoy your coffees and your weekends, and continue to breathe. Cheers.
Cheers.